And when did the founders, these 39 men who signed on the Declaration of Independence, unafraid of hanging? Because at that time, anybody who signed that document was an enemy to the prevailing power. And yet they did. And they went on to fight. And before long, they had earned their independence. There are better days ahead. I know we have suffered. I know we have been beaten. I know we have been kept down. However, there are better days ahead. And I'm here to give the good news, the news that need to cheer your heart and to recall that as citizens, we are not subject to any other authority except our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our Declaration of Independence. Although there is novelty to the idea that none of us is any longer considered a slave or a subject to a king, to any tyrannical authority, or any other institution, as citizens, we ought to recall that we are subjects to the Declaration of Independence. I make a clear distinction between the Declaration and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, because whereas the one is not a legal document, and I speak of the Declaration of Independence, it is actually the most important document that allowed us to become who we are. Every time when we are together, we have been attacked and viciously maligned by our enemies of freedom. So shall we come together again this time and rise up, as we need to protect each other, to protect our rights, and to defend the Republic for which many others before us have shed their blood. The reason for me standing in front of you is to wake up this ancient feeling, the feeling that made people seek liberty at the cost of death. As you know, famous people before us, they went to battle with a flag that said, "Give me liberty or give me death," and they meant it. So should we not be led by inferior people who have no track, no belief, and certainly no hesitation to take away your liberties, you ought to expose yourselves to the politics by involving yourselves in the school board, in any other elected position that will elevate you to the point of a leader within our communities. You probably know my grandfather, they tried to assassinate him 61 times. Not all of them from effing Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. There were some local crazy yahoos from England, they tried to kill him too. We have to be aware that there is a cost to public service, especially when you do something good and you earn the enmity of those powerful people and the sinister folks who seek to dominate you and to deprive you of your basic liberties. And tell them that solidly standing together is all we expect from each other. Nothing more is required. Just stand with me as I stand with you, and together we are going to carry this sunny day into the future, because without that, we've got nothing. I have to say that I am proud to be amongst you. I am proud to be one of you, and above all else, I'm the American Churchill, and that means a lot. My grandfather, all his life, he was a subject to a king and queen. In his long life in Parliament, more than 50 years, he was a great force. He delivered liberty for the whole Western world. I think the fact that we do not speak German today in this very country is due to my grandfather's, Winston Churchill's, courage. Courage, and courage alone was what helped him achieve this liberty. When everything was lost, when everything seemed improbably dark, and in the midst of the most difficult time the free nations of the world have faced, he stood up as one man alone for the first 2 years of the war, and then enjoying the friendship of the government of these United States, FDR and the people, and enjoying the friendship also of Stalin, Marshal Stalin on the other side, and enjoying the friendship of all the free nations who had signed up as allies, the ANZAC forces, Australia, New Zealand, the Commonwealth of India and other 68 nations. We should not forget that none of us is alone in this great struggle against darkness. We always have allies that we might not be able to identify, but we are able to rely upon. Say, E pluribus unum. This is my only shield of protection. I'm not wearing a bulletproof vest, although I have been assassinated twice. Well, small beginnings until I get to 61 times like my grandfather. I've got ways to go. But I'm here because I feel your protection is far greater than mine. Anything you have to offer me is accepted. So I thrive being amongst you. And I know that victory will grace all of our efforts and all of our endeavors, because this enterprise of mine is not new. This enterprise of mine has started a long time ago, back in the 1700s, when people rose up and they said, I declare my independence. And that was the most powerful thing that the world had ever heard. Because there is nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. And declaring our independence today from fear is going to be all to do. Should we be asked upon the world? Should we ask to be of service? And should we be asked to serve? I believe our time has come. No more division. Kindness, love, and the enthusiasm of unity is what will allow us to succeed and keep our republic, as many generations before us they have. Because people ask me, how come you expect this country that has fallen so low to be resurrected again and thrive? I say, well, give me a moment to think. It sounds like a very difficult question now, huh? Listen to me. If I have been able to resurrect myself from the last assassination attempt against me that left me broken in the head requiring brain surgery because I dared to give a speech like this inside the Microsoft headquarters in Haiti just a month after the 45th president was elected. Because that's what they're trying to do to us. To get us into a division that you cannot stand each other. You can't be in the same elevator, with another person, let alone if the person is from the other party. And both parties are complicit in this evil work. Both of them. It's not one. It's both of them. It takes two to tango. They are the same faces of the same coin on either side. Because that's how they can control the true citizens and deprive you of the rights that you have been feasted upon through the natural rights, through the godly free will, and certainly through the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution. Yes. I know I'm not telling you anything new that you don't know, especially with my funny accent. You probably want me to speak in French to you. And I use French, but only for romantic purposes and for diplomacy across the world, but not here. It does not matter the size of the office you seek. But it matters that you earn the right of citizen, which is ultimately to be responsible for the affairs of our country. And I want to be responsible to you, first of all, because you are fellow citizens, but most importantly, to the old creed, E pluribus unum. Out of many, we become one. And why did the founders, these 39 men who signed on the Declaration of Independence, unafraid of hanging? Because at that time, anybody who signed that document was an enemy to the prevailing power. And yet they did. And they went on to fight. And before long, they had earned their independence. This is again what I'm fighting for, because I happen to believe, unusual as it might seem to most of you, that the revolution has not stopped. The revolution has not died. The revolution is ongoing. And it is you, and me, and several other people, well beyond the pale of this particular moment, that they are unafraid to say, we must carry on the struggle. We cannot allow darkness to come over us for long. And the struggle that I'm engaged in is the political struggle of democracy, hoping to be amongst those who truly believe government by the people, government for the people, and government from the people shall never perish from this earth, at least if we can help it. No. So what is a nation? What is the idea of a nation? The very definition of a nation, in my mind, is this continuation of principle of our existence with the things that we hold sacred, from the people who are long gone to the people that are yet to be born. Your children, my children, and their children. This is what this nation is all about. This unbroken line of principled individuals willing to lay it all on the line for what we believe to be true, the Declaration of Independence. How could I call to your others, those others who are not in the same stripe uniform as you might be, and invite them to a civilized discourse, to a dialogue, and giving them loving kindness, allow both of you to become independent. Because independence is a state of mind more than anything else. To be independent of fear is what I hope and I ask of all of you today. And once you take that baptism of fire, you will be a true independent for the rest of your life and for the rest of the generations to come, as this nation was founded upon. Amen. I call on you for independence of spirit, independence of your heart, and the independence of your belief, to rise up with me and with each other, and to say thank you and God bless you all, and keep in mind that together we can have a great country, and you can do well together in this country. However, if separated, if divided, if conquered, we will die as slaves. And that